Hello everyone, my name is Detective Dewberry and I'd like to welcome you to Case File 324, the case of the extra egg. I'd like to introduce you to the victim, Wendy the yellow warbler. She came to us last summer complaining that a criminal broke into her nest and left an egg. She had great difficulty raising all of the young because of this extra egg, and she doesn't want the same thing to happen again this spring. She asked if we could help solve the case. I've questioned the neighbors and have a suspect list, but we'll need your help to narrow down the list so we can find out who left the egg in her nest and why. To help keep track, I've created a sheet you can work off. If you haven't already printed the sheet, please pause the video now to do so. I thought a good place to start would be looking at the 6 S's of bird identification: shape, size, sight, season, sound, and sight. So the first S we're going to look at is shape. Every bird can be classified into one of a few bird shapes. Here are some possible shapes. Oh no, some of these aren't birds at all. Could you please cross out the non-birds on your worksheet? Okay, now we've narrowed it down to actual birds, we can look at the 6 basic bird shapes. The first is duck-like. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then the second are the wading birds. So we have blue herons and storks are good examples of this. Third is perching birds. Nearly half of the birds in Alberta fit into this category. The fourth is raptors, so that's birds of prey. Examples include eagles and hawks. And fifth, we have shorebirds. So a good example of this is the sandpiper. And sixth is chicken-like. Again, that's pretty self-explanatory. They kind of look like chickens. So we can use this information to help us get started, and we can even use the fact that a bird is not in one of these 4 categories to help identify it. Now that we've learned a little bit about bird shapes, I think we can use what one of the neighbors said to eliminate one of the suspects. When I talked to the eagle, he said the criminal definitely was not the same body shape as me. So which bird can we eliminate based on this information? Please find the lineup on your worksheet and cross off the bird that has the same body type as the eagle. That's right, we can eliminate the red-tailed hawk as he is the only one on the list with the same body type as the eagle. The next thing we're going to be looking at is size. To find out a bird's size, we just try to figure out how big the bird is that we're looking at. Birds don't stick around for long, so you can't really get an exact size. Instead, you can try comparing it to other common birds. Now, I think we can use what we just learned to understand another clue. According to the raven I talked to, the criminal was definitely smaller than she was. But how big is a raven? Well, according to my book, they're about 60 centimeters long. So let's see who we can eliminate. Take a look at the lineup and see which bird is bigger than the raven. You got it right if you crossed off the great blue heron. Good work, guys! On to the next S. Site refers to a place or location. So many birds have a part of the forest that they're most likely to be found in. This is its habitat. Knowing where you saw an unknown bird will help you identify it. Let's take a look at the different habitats the remaining birds can be found in. First, we have the spotted sandpiper. They're classified as shorebirds and spend the majority of their time in and around large bodies of water like lakes. The snow bunting can often be found in grasslands or open fields, while the brown-headed cowbird can be found in grasslands and along the edge of forests. The ovenbird and rusty blackbird are found in forested habitats such as this one. I think what we just learned can help us again. The duck I interviewed said the criminal definitely did not flee towards the lake. Who can we eliminate with this information? On your worksheet, cross off the shorebird. If you eliminated the spotted sandpiper, you are correct. Way to go! We are really doing a good job at eliminating the suspects, and I'm sure taking a look at season, the next S, will help us eliminate another one. Did you know that some birds aren't found at a location all year round? Many birds fly south for the winter when it gets cold, so we won't find them here in the Lesser Slave Lake region in the winter. And some birds are only found here in the winter. Let's take a look at the remaining birds and see which season they can be found in the Lesser Slave Lake region. The ovenbird is a neotropical migrant because they spend the summer in the boreal forest and overwinter down in Mexico and Central America. The brown-headed cowbird is found in the boreal forest in the summer and spends the winter in the United States and Mexico. Whereas the snow bunting spends the summers up in the Arctic and then the wintertime in Canada and the northern United States. The rusty blackbird spends summers in the boreal forest and winters in the southern United States. I think with this information we can now eliminate another suspect. We can cross out on our sheet the bird that is only found in the Lesser Slave Lake area in the wintertime. Which bird is that? Do you remember? If you crossed off the snow bunting, you are correct. And that leaves us with only 3 suspects left, and we're going to be taking a look at the next S, which is sound. In the spring and summer, the boreal forest is full of bird song. Bird songs are amazing, and they do help us to identify which bird we're hearing. So sometimes you can't see the birds, but you can hear them, and knowing the bird songs can be very, very helpful. So many birds have very distinct songs, and when learning a bird song, it's a lot easier to remember them if you can come up with some words for the music. For example here, our little friend the black-capped chickadee sounds like it's saying, "Cheeseburger, cheeseburger." Take a listen. What do you think? The white-throated sparrow sounds like it's saying, "Oh, sweet Canada, Canada, Canada." Listen to the song. Can you hear it? The next bird is the ovenbird, who's a part of our lineup. And his song sounds like, "Teacher, teacher, teacher." Give it a listen. Can you hear the teacher, teacher, teacher? And now for my favorite, the white-crowned sparrow. He sounds like he's saying, "I gotta go wee wee now." Now that we've learned a little bit about bird songs, we might be able to eliminate a suspect. When I talked to the Tennessee warbler, she said she was watching a singing contest between 2 ovenbirds. She said the ovenbird songs went, "Teacher, teacher, teacher, teacher." Which bird song sounds like this? If you crossed off the ovenbird on your sheet, you are correct. And now we are left with 2 suspects, the rusty blackbird and the brown-headed cowbird. Okay, we're on to the last S, and we only have 2 suspects left. The last S is sight, as in seeing things with your eyes. When you're looking at birds, you need to make note of anything that you see. So it can be their eye color, markings on the head, breast, wings, tail. It can also include any behavior you see. How does the bird act? Basically, we're just looking for any clues to help us identify the bird. It's not always easy. Birds really don't stay in place for very long, but try and get as much information as you can. So on your worksheet, we have a spot the difference. So if you can find the differences between the 2 photos, this will help you practice your observation skills. Please pause the video while you do this, and then you can come back to check your answers. With the knowledge of our last S, we should be able to identify the culprit. But these last 2 suspects do look pretty similar. Hopefully we can use the information I have to identify the criminal. Okay, here it is. When I spoke to the raven, she said that as the criminal flew away, she noticed that they had a dark body with a distinct light-colored head. Does this help us? Which bird has a dark body and a light head? That's it, we have the culprit. It all makes sense now. According to my research, the brown-headed cowbird doesn't look after its own eggs. Instead, it will lay its eggs in another bird's nest in the hope that the owner will raise the chick. It's what's called a nest parasite. That's it. I'm going to send my deputy down to her overwinter grounds to get her before she comes back to the boreal forest for the summer.
We're hot on the trail of the dastardly brown-headed cowbird. There she is! Stop, you nefarious criminal!
Well, it looks like they caught her. The 6S's helped us to find the criminal and bring her to justice. Thank you so much for all your help, everyone. I hope you had some fun.